Welcome everyone to The Doctor is In. I'm Dr. Freddie Gomez. Now more than ever, developing children's strong immune systems is vital to keep them healthy. And while staying at home prevents them from getting exposed to the virus, quarantine restrictions can also negatively impact your child's health. Today we discuss how we can help strengthen their immune systems despite these challenging times. With us today is Dr. Randy Urtula. He's a pediatric gastroenterologist. Welcome to the show, Dr. Randy.
Hi, Dr. Freddie, and hi to all our viewers out there. Good afternoon to everyone.
Now, no one is spared from the lifestyle changes brought about by the pandemic, and that includes children. Marami sa mga bata ngayon ay at home, homeschooled without the face-to-face benefit of being in school, and this brings about a lower overall activity of the children. How can this sedentary lifestyle brought about by the situation affect the type of diet, the type of food they eat, the things they drink, and subsequently their immunity?
Dr. Freddie, that's a very good observation because right now the pandemic has affected our lifestyle as well. We just cannot go out and buy food or eat somewhere else. And then, of course, what we do now are actually taking in orders from home deliveries as well as our fast food outlets and drive-thrus, no? And that's a source of our diet that is not healthy for sometimes for children. However, this pandemic right now gave us a chance to closely watch the diet of our children. And because we know that proper nutrition is part of good growth and development as well as maintaining our immunity in this time of the pandemic.
That's true, no? So mahalaga talaga na masustansya mga pagkain nabibigyan natin yung mga anak natin at mga bata. But what are the nutrients needed to support a child's immunity para maging healthy ito? At saan ito pwedeng makuha or nakukuha?
Well, ang maraming nutrients out there, no? And what's important right now are those that actually support our immunity as well as our nutrition. For example, meron tayong vitamin A, may vitamin C at saka E, and these are called the antioxidant vitamins. And on top of that, the new micronutrient zinc. No, actually, zinc has been there for a lot of times already, being used for management of other diseases. But right now, they are the ones being touted particularly very important right now during the times of pandemic. You can get them from fresh fruits, vegetables, fish, lean meat, as well as milk, particularly the fortified ones. And therefore, you should take in them regularly and daily so that you can be assured of your proper growth and development as well as immunity.
That's right. And Dr. Randy, minsan ang kinakain ng mga bata sa araw-araw ay hindi enough to supply the nutritional requirements of their small yet higher than an adult's metabolism bodies. So in order to help that, there are supplements available in the market, like what you said, milk. But are there particular formulations that parents and our viewers should look for? And especially ngayon na napaka-importante na mabasa or mapansin ang mga labels to things that we buy and eat. What should these labels say with regards to nutrients?
Actually, with the Dr. Freddy, with the improvement in science, there have already been discoveries regarding certain components of milk, particularly from breast milk, because that's the gold standard, no, that can actually improve immunity and health. For example, we have your human milk oligosaccharides. These are special group of sugars in the milk that can give you or boost your immunity. No, they do this by acting as like a decoy. No, instead of the virus or bacteria, surface receptor attaching to the surface of your intestinal mucosa, they attach to these HMOs, which can be easily taken out of your body. Now, they also help to train the immune system of the child, which is still immature. Also, there are certain probiotics, no, or live organisms that when you take in offer you health benefits. But not all probiotics available in the market right now are created equal. Actually, for example, Bifidobacterium lactis is, of course, a strain of probiotic that has been proven and clinically proven and supported by studies to improve our gut health as well as our immunity. Now, a lot of these ones when you take in fortified milk, it help you, particularly on the maintenance of your immunity and nutrition as well. So we must read the labels. We must be curious of the labeling of our diet or the food that we eat. Take a look if these claims are actually clinically proven and backed up by science with adequately good studies to back them up.
Now, doctor, since the start of the pandemic, madalas nasa loob lang ng bahay ang mga tao. There are online shows or medical programs such as this one that help parents decide what's best for their child's health, lalo na kapag pinag-uusapan ang immunity. Can you tell us more about this, doctor?
Well, this has been designed particularly to answer some of the health queries of our patients, no, and all our viewers. And this is designed particularly to give advice to parents, which is based on science, no. And we should give them, as doctors, we should give them certain information that should be based on science and of course, clinically proven. And in that sense, we defer our advices to what science tells us. For example, science tells us that your vitamin A, C, E, and your zinc offers you improved immunity and for proper growth and development. Science also tells us that certain components of milk, like probiotics and your HMOs, are there to help you protect the gut because there have been studies of establishing the connection between your GIT and your immunity. And of course, lastly, you have to be curious for the fact that certain proteins in your body should be taken in a particular amount and, of course, the proper type because they also help you improve your immunity as well as your growth and development. So therefore, we should always read what is labeled in our food, that we will be guided that if these claims are okay or not, because a lot of information are coming from the internet, not only that, from your lolo and lola, the family members, and even your friends, no? And some of this might not be right. And some of them may even advise you mega dosing that can lead to overdosing. So we like to give them information that should be based on
Before I
science
let you
and
go,
also
yes.
clinically proven.
Very good advice. And before I let you go, Dr. Randy, do you have a message for our viewers out there with regards to how to keep their child's immune system healthy, especially now during the pandemic?
Yeah, Dr. Freddy, you should watch their diet right now. It gives you the time right now to watch what their diet, what they're eating, and if they're properly taken in. And therefore, be curious of what they eat, read the labels, make sure that they are, of course, the right ones, which is clinically and scientifically proven. And if you're in doubt, call your pediatrician because they are more in a position to give you advice on these matters.
Yes, when in doubt, definitely consult your pediatrician. Thank you very much, Dr. Randy Urtula, for sharing your expertise on children's nutrition and immunity. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll discuss the role and importance of children's metabolism to their immune systems. All that and more when the doctor is in returns. We're glad to have you with us on The Doctor is In. I'm Dr. Freddie Gomez. We often hear how our metabolism affects the way we gain or lose weight. But did you know that it can also impact our immune systems? And the same is true for growing children. That's why it's important to make sure they're getting the proper nutrition they need. Joining us is pediatrician Dr. Khlaire Pioquinto. She's a diplomat at the Philippine Pediatric Society and also a consultant at the Pioquinto Adult and Pediatric Clinic. Welcome to the show, Dr. Khlaire.
Good afternoon, Dr. Freddy. Good afternoon, viewers.
Now, Doc, madalas na naririnig natin na may mga taong mabibilis o kaya naman ay mabagal ang metabolism ng katawan. But can you explain to us briefly, ano ba talaga itong metabolism? What's its role in our body and bakit kailangan malaman ito?
Well, Dr. Freddy, the metabolism is a process by which your body converts what you eat and drink into energy, which your body needs for efficient functions such as exercise, dancing, playing. So it's very important that we eat the proper nutrition or we eat the right type of food para pag na-convert na ito, we will be able to use it efficiently.
Yes. And we know that a child's metabolism is generally faster than an adult's. Do you think that allowing a child to eat anything they want, lalo na yung mga hindi masustansyang pagkain, can interfere with their naturally higher metabolism? Meron ba itong posibleng masamang epekto sa bata later on in life?
Definitely, kasi nutrition is the key to metabolism. It's important that we keep a healthy, balanced diet of carbohydrates, protein, fat, vitamins, and minerals. So, for example, if your child consumes excessive amounts of carbohydrates from like chocolates, cookies, cakes, this will yield sugar, and we know that consumption of too much sugar can lead to diabetes.
Yes, very important for parents to know that, definitely. Now, let's continue on this discussion by answering some of the questions that were sent in. Marami mga questions na pumapasok from the CNN Philippines Facebook page. We have a question from Lar. Ang tanong ni Lar, my child loves sports but can no longer play due to the pandemic. What are practical ways he can exercise at home?
Definitely. Parents just have to be creative with addressing or adjusting to the pandemic. I know it's hard. So, for example, you can make use of the free online YouTube videos of dancing, other exercise like yoga, and there are also other sports there that you can copy or you can, watch, and then you can do it at home with your kids.
Okay, very good. At may tanong din si Ryan. Ang tanong ni Ryan, what diet is ideal for kids that helps improve their metabolism?
I always believe in a healthy, balanced diet. So there's really no ideal except for the balanced and healthy diet. So it has to be distributed equally. The carbohydrates, the protein, the fat, the vitamins and minerals that I mentioned before. So it's important that you give them equally, and then you feed them 3 times a day, 3 full meals a day, and then snacks in between.
Okay. And I have a follow-up question with Dr. Claire. So, a lot of the foods that are high in sugar, high in fructose, are actually marketed towards kids. Do you think that parents in general should stay away completely from these things, or is it okay to give their child, a treat every now and then that is high in sugar?
Everything in moderation naman, Doc Freddy. I mean, it's hard also to just restrict them completely from treats, pero not too much, not excessive. So you can give it to them pakonti-konti lang. Hindi naman like, dapat hindi lang like, puro cake lang yung lunch mo, puro cookies lang. Kasi otherwise, hindi na sila kakain talaga ng proper meal. Diba? So, kasi nakakabusag yun yung too much carbs or too much like cookies and chocolates and ice creams. Busag na sila doon so they're not going to eat yung rice, yung meat anymore. So,
Okay.
yeah. So you have to offer the meal first and then you
Right.
give it as a dessert lang. Yung cookies.
Yes, that's I agree with that. And in moderation, or if not, very konting-konti lang talaga as para lang matikman nila yung mga treats na yan. Okay? We have to pause for another break, but when we
Yeah.
return, we'll talk about the best ways we can give children the emotional support they need while in quarantine. Stay with us right here on The Doctor Is In. Welcome to another session here on The Doctor is In. I'm Dr. Freddie Gomez, and you're watching CNN Philippines. Aside from the physical change that our children are experiencing, the minimal social interactions that the pandemic has forced upon them can greatly impact their mental health. It's important that we find creative ways to give our children the emotional support that they need. Kasama pa rin natin si Dr. Khlaire Pioquinto na isang pediatrician. Now, Dr. Claire, aside from having a balanced diet and regular physical activities during home quarantine, children also need to maintain a healthy mind. So, how can one be able, or how can the parents be guided by this, and how to follow this? Can you give some tips on how to achieve this goal at home?
Okay. Doc Freddy, this pandemic has brought us feelings of anxiety and sadness, not only amongst adults, but also the children. We may think that they're not affected by this, but we have to realize that this pandemic took away school, when they can interact with their friends and then other social gatherings. So the approach to this, I suppose, would be it depends on the age of the child. So if you have toddlers, you have to make sure that the things that they see on TV are filtered, because suddenly all they see on TV now are people getting sick and people starving. So just be mindful of what your child sees or hears on TV, and then consider reducing the amount of screen time, especially if it's focused on COVID alone. So you have to maintain structures and routines. Maybe their meal time should be scheduled, and then their study time, their playtime, their bedtime also, but not too strict naman. And then also with toddlers, I feel like you have to make them feel like they're in control, because it keeps them empowered. So for example, you can tell them that they can stop the spread of the virus if they stay at home or wash their hands properly, or maintain proper hygiene, stuff like that.
Okay, very good advice. And I'm sure, Dr. Claire, in your practice as a pediatrician, marami ka ng na-meet na mga batang may sakit, mga batang healthy, na iba't ibang mga ugali. I think one of the important things that parents should know about their child is how to understand them. So, with your advice, what are some practical ways to better understand someone's child, or for the parents watching, how to better understand their child? Because challenge ito ngayon na Dr. Claire, sa mga parents na back to work na at kaunti lang ang mga oras na nakakasama nila ang mga anak nila.
Well, it's important to keep the communication lines open, even if you're busy with work. So when you get home, you have to talk to your child and then ask them how their day went. And then, of course, when you get home, make sure that that time when you're at home is really for your child, because you were away na the whole day. So you play with them, you ask them what they learned in school today, because it's online learning. You ask them, is it easy for you, or would you rather just go to school? And then you explain to them why this is happening. So just keep the communication lines open.
That's very important, keeping that communication bridge, kumbaga, always there between you and your child. Now let's answer some more social media questions. Ang unang tanong natin ay mula kay Ophelia. Ang tanong ni Ophelia, what causes loss of appetite in children? Ano po ang pwedeng gawin para maging magana silang kumain?
Okay. I suppose it depends on the cause or when it started. If it started during this pandemic, it could have been because they're um, tawag dito, for some, I think it's because of the loss of routine. Like they sleep late and then they wake up late, so sometimes they skip breakfast already. Or for some naman, they're having adjustment problems. So what you can do is you tell them that if you eat properly, if you have proper or good nutrition, then your body will be able to handle the virus, or your body will be able to fight the virus properly. So I think that's one of the ways that you can adjust the situation. And then the other thing that I always tell the
Is
parents
that
is that
important?
kailangan tiyagain talaga yung pagkain or yung pag-feed sa bata, because especially with toddlers, sometimes they really are very picky eaters. So, you know, just tsatsagain niyo po talaga yung pag-feed.
Is it important for parents, Dr. Claire, to still maintain a routine when it comes to their child, even now na pandemic, nasa bahay sila most of the time? Is it good to have still have that form of structure around children?
Yes, of course. Like what I mentioned earlier, uh, the children are having a hard time adjusting because they're not going to school anymore. So sometimes they end up sleeping very late, like watching TV shows. And in the morning, they wake up really late also. Na sometimes lunch na lang yung naabutan nila. So it's important that you keep a schedule for them na hindi sila that hindi masyadong naiiba sa routine nila before because it's hard for children to adjust enough as it is. They're not going to school and then ganito yung time nila na iba na rin. So make sure that they're having
Okay.
have breakfast, lunch with you and dinner so that it's better that way.
Okay. We have another question from Danielle. My toddler loves drinking milk. Is it a sufficient substitute for water? What do you think, Dr. Claire?
It depends on the age. Um, we always we pediatricians we always advise that if they reach the age of 1 year old, that their nutrition should be coming from the food that they eat already, and we just supplement it with milk, like 2 to 3 glasses of milk per day na lang. So if they're babies, of course, if infants pa din, then syempre yung food nila, that their nutrition is mainly from the milk. But if the child is already toddler, then their meal should be breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then ideally around less than 20 ounces of milk per day na lang.
Okay. And we have our last question from Oli Ocampo. Ang tanong ni are mostly at home due to the pandemic. Is it still recommended to have morning and afternoon snacks?
Yes, snacks of course have to be healthy, like fruits and vegetables. So what we advise parents is that you distribute the meal times to breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then snacks in between. So when we say snacks, not candies, not chocolates or cakes. I mean, you can give a little, but ideally it should be fruits, vegetables, and then the healthy snacks naman.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Khlaire Pioquinto, for helping us answer some of these questions. Always a pleasure to have you on the
Thank
show.
you
And to our
for
viewers,
having
thanks
me.
for watching us today. Remember, we're all in this fight against the pandemic together. Let's practice proper safety measures and do our part. I'm Dr. Freddie Gomez, and we'll see you on Med Talk Health Talk starting September 2 at 3:30 p.m. Till then, stay safe, everyone.